Hello everyone. This video is designed to give you some really useful tips on how to take effective notes in class. Let's start with how not to take good notes. A lot of students do this. Copy down everything on the professor's PowerPoint slide word for word as fast as you can, and if the prof changes the slide, raise your hand and say, "Can you please go back one slide because I didn't get all of that down in my notebook where I won't look at it again until a few hours before the exam, and I will rely on my memory for what it all means." Now that sounds like a joke, but believe it or not, this is how a lot of students do it. They try to copy word for word everything that's on the professor's PowerPoint slide, and some of that may or may not be useful for you. It may either be too wordy or not wordy enough to really give you good information. For example, my PowerPoints might look something like this. I use PowerPoints in class as my speaking notes as an instructor, so they don't have a lot written on them. They just have some keywords to remind me what to talk about. So if you copied down this PowerPoint as you see it here and you didn't take any additional notes of your own, then in a few weeks when you go to study this material, it's probably not going to be that useful to you. So what we're going to strive to do in this video is to find a happy medium, to find a way where you can get things down in your notes, but also add some personal information that will make it more useful for you when it comes time to review your notes. So let's look at how to take really good notes. First, do the reading beforehand if you possibly can, even if it's just a skim reading. That way you're coming to class with some exposure to the material already. Think of questions that you might have or clarifications you might want to request about that material you read before you even come into class. Make an outline or list of what was in the chapter, and you can use that for note-taking. In some of my courses, I provide this to students in the form of notes pages, but you can easily make your own notes pages by creating a topic list and then filling in the blanks as the lecture goes on and asking the professor about anything that didn't get addressed or that didn't get filled in. Write in your own words. This is the most important part, in my opinion. Just writing down the phrase that's on the PowerPoint is not going to do you as much good as writing things down in your own words. Really actively listen to what the professor is saying and summarize it in your own way in your notes. Maybe write down an example. If the instructor gives an example, or if you can think of an example in your own life, write it down. If you really want to get what's in the PowerPoint, some instructors don't mind if you take a picture of the PowerPoint with your phone. I don't mind if you do that. I also don't mind if students record lectures, so you could ask if you're allowed to do those things. But the most important tip right here is to put it into your own words. Those notes are for you. Nobody else needs to see them. So write down what's going to help you understand. Even if you write something like, example, Uncle Fred at Thanksgiving, right? Nobody else might understand what that means, but you will remember the incident with Uncle Fred at Thanksgiving that you're referring to as an illustration of the concept the professor was talking about. So that will make your notes really useful for you. Always write down an example, whether it's one that the professor gives or one that you think of yourself. Review your notes afterward. If you review your notes right after class, you're going to remember things that you can fill in. You're going to refresh your memory of what was just said. And think about this. If you read beforehand, made an outline beforehand, wrote things down in your own words, and reviewed them afterward, you're going to have a pretty good grasp of that material that was discussed that day. And jot down a few questions for next time. What wasn't covered to your satisfaction? What are you still confused about? What can you ask about the next time the class meets? Here are some things you can do before an exam to effectively review your notes. First of all, review your book. Again, even if you're just kind of skimming the chapters that are going to be on the exam, just refresh your memory as to what the list of topics were. Now, your instructor may or may not give you an exam prep list or in a study guide. But whether they do that or not, going through the chapters of the textbook that are on the exam, even in a quick way, will refresh your memory as to what the topics were. Review your notes. Again, you can skim read them at first and then spend special effort on the things that might not be as clear to you. Make sure you know definitions and examples of the different concepts. Most test questions are not definitional. It's not which of the following is the definition of, and you just pick it off the list. Now, in that case, it would just be a matter of recognizing the phrasing of it. Most professors don't do that. They give you a little story and say, which course concept does this illustrate? Those are called application questions. And in order to answer a question like that effectively, you have to really understand the concept and how it applies to real life situations. So concentrate on examples, concentrate on thinking of examples of the different concepts that were discussed in the lectures. Note the similarities and differences between and among different course concepts. Now, in communication studies, a lot of things sound alike. So just as a quick example, we talk about social exchange theory and social penetration theory. The names are similar, but they have important differences. So make sure that if there are two things that you might easily confuse, that you are clear on the difference between them. Remember, they're your notes, so write down the things that are going to help you remember the course material. Nobody else is going to see them. Nobody's going to grade them. If you are the type to draw pictures or write down examples like the one I gave about, how Uncle Fred behaved at Thanksgiving. Again, if it's something that's going to help you and it's going to jog your memory, those are the best kind of class notes that you could ever produce. Good luck. Ask me any questions you might have, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.